Welcome everyone to the first episode of Rough Draft here at Rough Draft, brought to you by Mile High Roundtable MHRT. Like, subscribe, share. We'll be doing these videos of potential draft prospects all the way up into the draft. So here at Rough Draft today, for the first episode, we will be going into a little bit of depth and talking about a potential number 9 pick. So, as you can see from the title, Too Much Sauce. The first prospect we're going to go over today is Ahmad Sauce Gardner. Now, the reason why I chose him is after watching film and seeing the needs of the Broncos. There's a cornerback hole on the defensive side. So, our secondary was one of our strong suits with the great draft to Patrick Surtain. Ronald Darby did okay, but our safeties were pretty good with Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons. And with Kareem Jackson likely not returning to the Broncos, Caden Stern steps up. And when he was in there, he did a fantastic job. He had a couple sacks, a couple interceptions. So I think we're pretty good at the safety spot. But with Kyle Fuller moving over to slot and Bryce Callahan, unfortunately, as good as he is when he plays, unable to stay healthy, I believe we have a hole in our secondary. And I believe that, the potential prospect that I'm bringing up today, I'm talking about today, can definitely fill that hole. Now, last year, we picked up Pat Surtain, I believe at number 9 as well. There's debate about whether we should have gone with that or our quarterback, but I believe wholeheartedly that Patrick Surtain was the perfect pick. He had a great rookie season. He's a lockdown corner. And Justin Simmons himself stated that when Patrick Surtain is in the game, he doesn't have to worry about that side of the field. So today I'm going over a prospect who I believe who has been known to erase that side of the field. Now, this guy didn't allow a single touchdown in his entire 3 years of college. So that's impressive. So you get Sauce Gardner coming in at 6'2", 6'3", depending on where you look, depending on who you ask, anywhere from 180 to about 200 pounds. So he's not a small guy. He's a guy that, like I said, not allowing any touchdowns his first 3 years. He can erase that side of the field. So he's a tall, lengthy guy, between 188 and 200 pounds. So some of the benefits that we're going to go over is definitely his length. That's definitely the first thing that sticks out to you. And when you're in the AFC West like the Broncos are, and you have a guy like Mike Williams that you have to go up against, a bigger receiver that, they want to, throw the ball to in the end zone. Or, say we play the Pittsburgh Steelers and you go against Chase Claypool, who's a deep threat. Sauce Gardner is one of those guys who they don't want to throw that side. They don't want to throw the ball up there because he's just as big as a receiver. In high school, from Detroit, Michigan, in high school, he played receiver and cornerback. He's 6'3", about 200 pounds. So that can be, if in another world, he could have been a receiver that's the size of a receiver. So to have that type of size matched up on the other side as a defender, it's definitely a really good size to have, but definitely a boundary player. In this segment today, we're going to go over Sauce Gardner. We're going to look at some of his highlights, point some things out. There's definitely some sustains that I like from him and definitely some improvements that we're going to get to. For a little while, we may just sit here and just watch some highlights and get to where we can be and pick through some certain things. So that's why it's called Rough Draft because, we're not professional analysts. But, it's going to be a rough estimate of what we see, what we like, what we don't see, especially reading the scouting report and seeing, the similar things that they saw and the annotations they made that I may not have seen. So our first prospect today is Ahmad Sauce Gardner. He was a junior from the University of Cincinnati, 6'2", 6'3", 188 to 200 pounds. He's a boundary corner who's excellent in man coverage. Didn't allow a single touchdown throughout his entire college career. So that's definitely someone that we want to highlight. Arguably the best cornerback in the draft. In my opinion, he is. So seeing as George Payton took a cornerback at number 9, just you put Pat Surtain on the boundary on the outside and Sauce Gardner on the other side, and let's say you move Ronald Darby to the slot. I mean, you've got boundary cornerbacks that can erase the side of the field. One's going to be a sophomore, second year. The other one's going to be a rookie. So you've got these guys locked up for 4 to 5 years that are just locked down cornerbacks. And that's definitely something we want to see especially going against Justin Herbert and the Chargers, Derek Carr and the Raiders, or, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs, where you got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. And the Chargers have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. We definitely want to have corners who can definitely erase them, make them throw the ball inside, struggle to throw incompletions, force interceptions, or have to run the ball. So definitely having a lockdown cornerback on the other side of already locked down cornerback is definitely something that's hard to pass up. So we're definitely going to get into it, and we're just going to jump right into it. So welcome to the first episode of Rough Draft. So starting off, what you're going to see here is you're going to see Sauce Gardner read the quarterback's eyes. And that's one thing he's very good at. He's very good at knowing where the ball is and trusting his instincts. And in the first couple of ones, you're going to see him jump the route. So I'm excited. Let's get to it. So he jumps the route. It's in the important part about this game is as you see the score. ECU, East Carolina, is up 40-35. Cincinnati's down. They've got 4 minutes left. They've got the ball. So now it's up to the defense. And Sauce Gardner's the guy who they're looking to. And when it came down to it, he was the guy to not panic, to read the quarterback's eyes, to know the defense. And he's very good at knowing the receiver's routes and running it with them and trailing them because of his size and length and recovery speed. He's able to see that, and he makes a big play on the ball and gives them the lead. And that's what we need in the NFL, and that's what we need, especially in the AFC West, is a guy who's willing to make that big play, who's not afraid of the big moment. And that's exactly who he is, and that's exactly what he does. So that's definitely an interesting take and an interesting guy that, George Payton may have some interest in. So he does the same thing again. He sees the quarterback, he sees the play, he jumps the route. They're down. He intercepts it. He intercepts the ball, and then takes it to the house. Once again, he's right where he needs to be. He's right where the ball is. He's lengthy, recovery speed, great stride. So that's great. That's great defense. So we'll look at that again because a lot of times young guys come into the league or they don't have the necessary technique to hand fight all the way through the play, wrap their head around, which is the big thing the refs are looking for. So if you watch him on this side, he gets his head around, he sees the ball, and he catches. That's one thing that's very good about technique and something that's hard to necessarily practice on is getting your head around. So in this play, he gets his head around. Now in this play, this is what we're going to look at because Sauce Gardner's scouting report is he's fantastic. He's fantastic at man coverage. Like I said, he didn't allow any touchdowns. You can count on one hand how many first downs he allowed. So on this play, on the first drive that Notre Dame has the ball, they're driving down the field. First down after first down. They're getting great run plays. They're getting great throws, great catches, and now they're in the red zone. And on that specific play, which we're going to watch, Sauce isn't playing man. As you see, there's no receiver that's outside the numbers on his side, so he has to come down and he has to cover the tight end. And what he's going to drop into, a cover 2 zone. So in that cover 2 zone, that normally you'll have backside man, but on this one he had cover 2. So the tight end comes up, he does the in route, and then he drops into a zone. And on that play, which we'll see, there's a drag coming on the backside behind him, but because he stayed home and because he did his assignment, he gets an interception. So we'll take a look at that again. So as we see, this is the tight end that lined up. He comes in on the breaking ball. So he breaks in, and in doing so, he didn't trail him off too far. He passed him on to the safety and passed him on to the linebacker. And the linebacker's passing this drag route off to Sauce. So what this looks like right now is if this quarterback is throwing it to the tight end, he'll get maybe 1 or 2 yards if Sauce doesn't intercept the ball because he's right here waiting for that. He's waiting for that. So he's willing to step up, crash down, make that tackle, get 2-3 yards, and it'd be 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line if he makes that tackle. But as we can see, he either overthrew this tight end or he tried to get that ball while getting hit to the over drag route. But because he's home and he stayed home in the zone, which is very important for a very versatile cornerback to not just be one-dimensional in his coverage. So not only can he play man, but he can also play zone. And we saw this in this play. He stayed home in the goal line. He didn't panic, and he got the interception on the first drive in a big game. Notre Dame is ranked number 9. Cincinnati's ranked number 7. So in a big game like this, when they're driving, the momentum can shift. You can lose your confidence. Once again, in the big moment, he stays home and he makes a big play. So, applause to him for that. He's very versatile. He can play man and he can play zone. He's got great instincts for the ball. One improvement that I would make for him that we may not necessarily see in this segment is he definitely has to improve on his tackling. And some of the plays that I watched, once again, here he is in cover 3. And some of the plays that I watched, not just his highlights, but the game against Notre Dame, is he has to definitely improve on his tackling. And knowing the new defensive coordinator, Evero, who's the Wade Phillips man coverage, also Vic Fangio scheme, where Vic Fangio loved for his cornerbacks to be able to tackle. Because of his length, a lot of times he gets blocked too easily, and he doesn't really make the tackles, or he doesn't really wrap up. So that's one of the improvements I would bring up is tackling. But as we see from this play right here, he drops into cover 3. And this isn't thrown to him or thrown to his guy. So his guy breaks out, and he breaks in. His guy does a dig route. Sauce Gardner sees that there's no one coming across the field. There's no one going deep. So he still has deep third, but there's no one over here, so he doesn't go too far. So he backs up cover 3, deep third. So as you can see, this guy's getting back. The safety's back. He's back. So they're running a cover 3 defense. And once again, it's zone. He stays home. He gets the interception. He got the interception because he was right where he needed to be. The same thing with Pat Surtain's pick 6 against the Chargers was the ball got tipped. And because Pat Surtain was in cover 2 and where he needed to be, he got the interception and he ran it back. So zone isn't always, it's not always for a cornerback always on top of the man deflecting the pass or getting the interception or getting the big tackle. It's also about being where you need to be. And that's what zone coverage is are you covering your area? Are you where you need to be in case a situation like this happens? So that's 2 plays in a row where he's running goal line cover 2, and this one he's running cover 3, and he's where he needs to be, and he gets the interception. So he's definitely a guy that I believe George Payton and their scouting department is definitely looking at. So this is a fantastic play. And the reason why this play I want to highlight is because he does a cornerback blitz. And as Evero just came out and said, we have to send guys, put pressure on the cornerback. And this play is absolutely fantastic. So he comes off a blitz, he sees the quarterback, and he makes a hit. And so what next I'm going to do is called the Rough Draft Reminder. Rough Draft Reminder is we see draft prospects, and then we look and see who does this remind us of. So with Rough Draft Reminder, I'm going to bring up Jalen Ramsey. He reminds me of Jalen Ramsey with the size, the athleticism, the length, the jamming at the line of scrimmage. So he definitely reminds me of Jalen Ramsey. Now, he's not as physical as Jalen Ramsey is, especially when it comes to tackling, but he's not there yet. He's coming out. He's definitely gonna build that on the boundary, unless you're man coverage across the field. But if you can corner them on the sideline, I think the slot cornerback has to be a lot faster than the boundary cornerback because they like to drag across the field a lot. Their route tree is a lot more available than those on the boundary. So I think Sauce Gardner being a boundary cornerback is a lot more beneficial for his recovery speed, his length, and his size. I think that's absolutely fantastic. You have guys like Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Travis Kelce every once in a while may line up on the outside the numbers. It's rare, but that's definitely a possibility. You've got guys like Chase Claypool. You've got big boundary receivers, outside the number of receivers all the time. And having a guy that's 6'3", 200 with that length, that athleticism, that vision, and that natural instinct is definitely going to help. And to be able to, to coach him up and have him be on the other side of Pat Surtain with Justin Simmons as the free safety, Caden Stearns is the strong safety, and Who knows right now who the slot cornerback is going to be? Maybe Michael Ojemudia. We don't know. That's fantastic. Caden Stearns might come down and be the slot cornerback, and Michael Ojemudia might go back to be the strong safety. We don't know. But just having two cornerbacks on the boundary who can erase those side of the field and put the pressure on the nickel or the linebackers is fantastic. So as I stated, Sauce Gardner is the first guy we went over today in rough draft. He's a guy that I'm definitely looking at. If we get him at number 9, then I'm happy. He definitely reminds me of Jalen Ramsey with the length, the athleticism, the vision, the know-how, the natural instinct. He has to improve on his speed and his physicality when it comes to tackles, because in the NFL, it doesn't matter who you are, you need to know how to tackle. But other than that, he's definitely a guy that I'm excited to look at. So thanks everybody for joining in, listening to Rough Draft. Join us next week, and we're going to have another prospect for you. We may go over some free agents as well that the Broncos may decide to sign to fill some holes, such as edge or even cornerback. I know J.C. Jackson is a free agent. I know Chandler Jones is a free agent. So we may talk about them and cover them as well to fill some holes. But join us next week, and we are going to go over another draft prospect to fill another hole on this Denver Broncos team to take us to the Super Bowl.